G'day guys, welcome back to another Bitcoin video. Now Bitcoin is broken down from a structure and it's come back up within the structure. So it had fake out, right? We had this ascending broadening wedge formation here. This yellow formation, it's a pattern of kind of exhaustion, it's a pattern of reversal. Generally, when you have those kind of formations, it marks the top, and that lines up with most of the TA, right? The most of the TA is suggesting Bitcoin's overbought in this region. You know, we've got descending volumes rounding out while the price is rounding out at the same time, which means the volume and the momentum is shifting with the price action, which means there's a kind of balance between the bulls and the bears are taking over. So slowly, Bitcoin, over the days, every single day, it's getting a little bit weaker, and eventually it will probably lead to a turning point which Bitcoin breaks down. We almost saw that turning point yesterday, and in fact, almost saw the turning point today, I should say. It was just 4 to 8 hours ago, I should say. We broke down from the formation, but we immediately found support on the brief little support zone here we have at 22.3k, which we marked the lows at between around January 23rd and around January 25th. So we do have support right now, but we did break down from a structure. We're struggling to get back within the structure. As you can see, recent hours, we flip over the hourly chart real quick, we can see that Bitcoin is very much struggling to get back within the formation after it dropped below it. It's kind of fighting with resistance there. Could be seeing some sort of resistance support flip. At this point, it's a little bit unclear as to what we will see. If we flip back to the 4-hourly chart, what we can see though is Bitcoin on the RSI in a descending channel, kind of descending wedge formation. So we could actually be seeing one more break to the upside before Bitcoin drops down. That's probably on the cards here, on the table. It's definitely on the table, I should say. Now, what we do have overall is not a very bullish structure. I mean, I've already established that at the start of this video, but we've got a rounding out structure here. This is like a semicircle structure, a rounding top formation. What we could see, and this is, indicative by the RSI, what we could see is, since the RSI is in a bullish formation, we could see a breakout in the RSI, which will lead to a breakout in the price, and we could ultimately be seeing some sort of maybe reverse cup and handle formation on Bitcoin before finally breaking down and dropping below. That could occur. What I'm essentially saying is this: Bitcoin has proven in the last 4 to 8 hours that it's not completely ready to make a decision. There isn't a complete decision on the table yet. Even though it's very, very likely it breaks for downside, we do probably need to be waiting for the break of the range in order for that decision to be completely confirmed. And that range, as I've discussed multiple times, is between the two pink lines, between 22k and between 25k. 25k being an area in which there's a conglomerate of resistance. On the weekly chart, as you can see, we've got the 50-week SMA and the 200-week SMA right there at 25k, as well as the bottom of the Gaussian channel. So the top of the range is very strong, and this was the topic of yesterday's video. If you want to know more about this, you can watch yesterday's video. Yesterday's video was based all around the fact that 25k is a zone in which we're going to have a very, very hard time breaking through for Bitcoin. Now, I do think Bitcoin will break through the zone, but I think it's probably going to need to correct first, and that's why I'm leaning towards a correction here. I'm leaning towards bearish from short term. There's really not much other to say than that. Now, what I can say, though, is this: where will we go when we see the correction? I've established in recent videos that if we see that correction, we break below 22k, which will be the confirmation of the correction, we will go downwards towards this green box here, this lower green box. Now, as of recent, we've seen some developments in this chart. We've seen the development that we've seen a golden cross in the daily chart. Now, I don't think a golden cross is going to lead to much, namely because we're seeing a bearish weekly cross, bearish weekly def cross, which will cancel out the golden cross. And also, I think golden crosses are just a reflection of price action. I don't think they're indicators in themselves. But the point is this: it's not the fact that we've seen the cross, it's the fact that we've seen the cross, and the 50-day SMA and the 200-day SMA are going to start edging upwards very rapidly over the next couple of weeks. So we could actually see Bitcoin bottom out a little bit higher than our target there of around 20k to 19.5k, maybe 20.5k, something a little bit above, as these moving averages trend to the upside. Same thing with the bull market support band, right? Bull market support band has now changed direction. This is trending to the upside. So when we see the correction, previously we said, and this very much was valid at the time, previously we said when we see the correction, we'll go downwards and we'll probably go down to this green box. That could very well happen on a wick, but at the same time, we do need to be watching these moving averages now because they're trending upwards quite rapidly. So we might actually find we might bottom out a little bit higher and have a little bit of a higher low. I should say a higher low than we would have expected before. So we do need to watch that when we do see that breakdown. If we do see the breakdown, I think it's quite likely. And when will we see the breakdown? Well, as I said, it's probably going to be very, very shortly. If you just bring out the Bollinger Bands first and foremost, you can just see the Bollinger Bands are tightening massively right now. At the latest point, I would expect to see the breakout by the time CPI occurs, and CPI is coming on the 14th, so 5 days now. So anytime in the next 5 days, Bitcoin realistically should be breaking downwards if the TA is anything to say for it. Now, obviously, there is a small chance it breaks the upside, but if that happens, we'll have time to react and we'll have time to analyze the situation. At this point in time, you shouldn't have reacted, right? Because we haven't actually seen the breakdown from the range yet. This is something very important to note. Yesterday's video, I said it is a decent time to consider maybe selling so you can buy back later. Remember, guys, we're breakout traders. We don't buy and sell in ranges, okay? That's something I very much need to cover. We don't buy and sell in ranges. Range buying and selling is how you get wrecked in the market, unless you're a very experienced trader, in which case you can do it, right? But what I'm saying is, if you're the average person, if you've got the average level of experience, the last thing you want to be doing is trying to trade ranges. You trade breakouts. That's how you trade. Even profitable traders will tell you breakout trading is much more profitable, much easier. You only trade ranges in very specific circumstances. And I can tell you right now, this range is not an exception. We should not be trading this range. We'll trade the breakouts. When we break down, I've said this before, I'll say it again. When we break down from that pink line, that's an optimal short position. If we break up from 25K on the weekly chart, that's an optimal long position. This range is a no-go zone. If you haven't bought yet, you don't buy in this range. If you haven't sold yet, you don't sell in this range. You sell and buy when the range is broken. Very, very important that people stick by those rules if they want to be profitable in the market. Now, that's my personal opinion. Obviously, a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people like range trading, but I would certainly suggest that it's much more complicated than trading breakouts. So that's the overall picture for Bitcoin in the short term. It's just recapping things I've already said, adding in the fact that these moving averages are flipping to the upside, and adding in the fact that the move will be happening within 5 days because CPI is coming up and that will no doubt trigger volatility, and adding in the fact as well that we saw a fake out, but ultimately it's no breakdown yet, unfortunately, for Bitcoin. We've covered the monthly chart and all that in previous videos. I'm not going to get too much into it today, but we do need to be watching the monthly chart, just briefly discussing it here. Because the 50 EMA on the monthly chart is rejecting Bitcoin, and this red line resistance at 23.4K is rejecting Bitcoin. This goes into what I said before, the fact that we're at a critical rejection zone right now. And same thing with the DXY. The DXY is reverse correlated to Bitcoin, and the DXY is at support on that pink line as of current, which means that Bitcoin is technically at resistance. So very, very strong resistance we're facing on Bitcoin. A correction is likely. It hasn't happened yet, right? We shouldn't be jumping the gun, but it will certainly be happening within the next 5 days. I should say, a move will certainly be happening for the next 5 days. That will most likely be a correction. The correction is not certain. Nothing's certain in this market. So excuse my wording there, but it certainly is likely. Okay, guys, that's basically it. Brief little update. Thank you for watching. Let's jump into a few things before we end the video. Before we even do that, actually, I did want to quickly discuss some of the stuff that I saw on Tech Dev's Twitter. We've got a few things here supporting the macro argument further than Q4. I thought you guys might find it interesting. I'm not going to delve too much into it today, but tomorrow's video, I'm going to delve into it. So I'll just quickly share the screens here, quickly show you what I'm looking at. Some nice charts supporting the macro bullish argument. And we are very macro bullish, as you guys know, based on the 4-year cycle theory, but it's just to show you guys there is more evidence out there that supports that argument. The reason why I don't look into random charts like this too much, I consider these random charts, is because there's always an argument to be made for both points of view, and the argument is generally strong for both points of view. The reason why I stick to the 4-year cycle is because the 4-year cycle theory is quite clearly the strongest argument available. It's literally a 11-year date range trend based on 6 micro trends and a presidential cycle theory. You can bring up all the charts you want, like Tech Dev does, and they're useful charts, but at the end of the day, nothing's really going to beat that. So yes, I'm certainly going to be sticking by the 4-year cycle, but I thought you guys might find it interesting. Go and check him out. He does post some interesting charts. I would say he leans way too bullish, and not even right now, but just in general, throughout the entire bear market, he was pretty much bullish. And I remember during the bull market, he was too bullish, but he is interesting if you're interested in collecting evidence for a bullish bias, and then you can compare it to some bearish evidence or whatsoever. Yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to show you there. But without further ado, check out the Bitget Exchange. Proudly partnered with the Wolves Crypto YouTube channel. 5 times lower fees than Binance. Non-KYC. It's got a protection fund, so you can get reimbursed on your funds if the exchange gets hacked. So yeah, check this out. And you get 15% discount on fees by signing up using my referral link. You also get exclusive rewards in the reward center. Best way to help the channel for sure. So go ahead and do that using my referral link down below. And then the Crypto Academy, if you want to learn how to trade, you want to take your trading to the next level, you want to learn how to become a professional trader of some sort, then you can check out the website here. Check out all the information on the website and chuck us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com and we'll get back to you swiftly. Okay, guys? Brief little update there. Bigger videos coming tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.